once you've got your turbos installed, what I did here is I teed both wastegate actuators, and I'm gonna blow air through it, provide air, you know. But you wanna apply very little air as possible so you can get an idea of which one opens first. And right now, I'm putting just a little bit of air and the passenger, well, it's upside down, so it would be the driver's side turbo is cracking before the passenger side is even moving. Show the other one. Oh, it's open right there a little bit. That one's open. Remove this pin. I believe that should be a 10mm. So I need to make it tighter. Now I'll try again. They stopped at the same exact time. So one of the things you can do is these flappers, if you're able to, I'm able to since I have it on the stand. Just apply air, rotate the little wheels, both of them at the same time, and once they're making contact, they'll stop turning. And you can see if they stop turning at the same time. So right here, they stop turning at the same time. You can try several times just to make sure. Yep. They stopped. That's how you synchronize them.
So they are good to go at that point.
Yes, they are. So this is one issue that several of you guys might run into, is either of your housings clocked wrong, whether it's going to be your turbine housing, the CHRA, or your compressor housing. In our situation, the compressor housing was clocked when we received the turbos. It was clocked too far towards the engine, and due to that, our compressor inlet, it's not it won't line up. So the bolts don't line up, and right here we're making contact with the exhaust housing. Not only that, but if you were to get it to bolt in place right here, you wouldn't have any room right here to install your accordion tube. And then the other thing is we're hitting up there by the motor mount, so it's making contact up there as well. So to remedy that, we're gonna have to, we may have to shave some of that down. We'll get to that right now. But for now, we're gonna have to remove these, or loosen these 13mm bolts and clock the housing in the correct orientation. And you can see right here, it's facing too close to the valve cover, so you won't be able to install your outlet tube. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. So now we have clearance with the motor mount, and And we have clearance in this spot right here with the exhaust manifold. It's no longer touching. And we have enough space between the valve cover and we could put our turbo outlet. So now that we made adjustments to our compressor housing in order to clearance our piping, we have to resynchronize the wastegates. So when we apply air, now the passenger side turbo opens before the driver's side begins to do anything. So now we have to repeat the process we did earlier. Back it out, try again. So another issue that you're gonna run into is the oil drain tube. When it's mounted like that, well, another thing you can do also is clock this. Well, you can clock the CHRA, but it'll throw off your lines as well. The other thing you can do is bend your tube downwards, because over here you have, they're not even remotely close. It needs to be right around there so you could get your silicone drain hose on. Pretty much. That's how you do it.
All right. So day 3.
It's like day 2.
2 and a half.
Day 3, but only like 3 hours per day.
So this is the finished mount setup. The oil tubes.
Make sure you put zip ties on your vacuum hoses, otherwise if you're boosting too hard, you'll pop them off and have issues later on down the road. I don't like to use ringworm style clamps because they cut the hoses and eventually rip off. The most important thing that you need to do to replace the turbos, you don't have to remove the oil pan. We had to remove the oil pan in order to straighten out the bottom where the pickup tube is. That's why ours had to be removed. But if you find yourself needing to remove your oil pan, be absolutely sure that you pull your dipstick tube out before you put it on and reseal it. Otherwise, your dipstick tube is going to get wedged between the block and your oil pan, and your only way of getting it out is going to be cutting it or pulling the oil pan off again.
Alright, now we're gonna flip it over. so after how many days?
The whole last week. Work week.
A few bumps in the road. We ended up doing the valve seals on it because we found the beat up valve seal. But it's finally all together.
So we need to put a bolt right here whenever we get a chance.
I'm about to do the first crank with the new Godspeeds.
I'm gonna do it.
Hold on. Alright, go for it.
Oh, I gotta bust my shit up too.
Keep in mind, guys, the exhaust is not fully on, so we only have like half of the exhaust on it.
Let me prime the fuel pump up a few times. First start, we do plan to go back, go over everything, add some bolts that are missing, you know, extra hardware. So we know y'all are gonna see this and be like, oh look, you're missing this and we're missing that. Yeah, we're gonna get to it. It's late at night, we've been at it for a few days. Just wanted to start it up and make sure everything's working as it should. The lifters are a bit noisy, but you know, after a few minutes driving, oil circulates through the heads. It should quiet down, so that's not a big concern of ours.
The car did have good compression when we did the compression test, so we do think the motor's pretty healthy. It was like 195, 200 down the board. So we'll see how it runs. Do an update later.